Yes, we've shown that.
Because we can always grab it and say, remember John Cooke?
Yeah.
We're going.
We're going there.
Welcome to episode Who Knows, because it's been at least 3 weeks that we've taken a break. I was so busy at work, and Byron's been very nice and gracious in allowing me to work and not do this. But I wanted to get back to it because our old friend and chum John Cooke is with us today. Yay. We've mentioned John quite a lot on these episodes. John and I, best friends since we were little guys, grade 5 I think it was when we first hooked
in
up.
that ballpark, yeah,
which was trouble.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so John's always been involved in our world, and most specifically in Bite Down Hard, our first effort, or Byron's first effort, we worked on together. We got John to come in and say a bunch of stuff, and I'll probably throw a little clip. Boop.
Where is this love?
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing... Hold on tight now, because we're going to be going backwards.
So that would be John in Bite Down Hard, doing his little parts, because everybody contributed. So let's let John say a hey and welcome to everybody as I do something else.
Well, it's nice to be here. Thanks for welcoming and stuff. And first off the top of my head, whatever was played when Steve went, Duke, I have no memory of.
Maybe it's just suit.
Is that what I did?
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I think I like in trying to, fucking what's the line? Go too fast, or do you want to go faster, or something?
Yeah.
That's right.
You want to
That's
go
right.
backwards or something?
That's
We're going to
right.
go backwards.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Now, where did you guys how did I end up meeting you? Like, how did that through Steve? You were.
Oh, I'm sure. John and I have always been best buds, but we've moved. Well, he's moved around more than I have. But when he came back to Ottawa, what year was it when you moved back from Sioux Lookout?
Sioux Lookout was 99, like fall of 99, and was in Ottawa when you were doing Bite Down Hard at Lenora for a couple of years in and around there. And and I think I bumped into you at JP's first time. I first started documenting the history. Just you drop by, we're like, hey, and
Yeah.
that might have been my memory of the first time I met.
Well, interesting. John reminds me of those type of people that I've sort of had in my life or in the studio. Whose picture I would put up on a dartboard and just throw darts at on a daily basis.
Motivator.
Stuff like that.
I'm a motivator.
No, it was always these people that were always just sort of and excuse the sort of italics, but just sort of arty-farty guys that would come in and just sort of do anything. They were sort of artists in their own. They had their own gig going in their own heads, and
Most anybody we know is artistic in a way. They have their own little thing
but
that
I
they
think
do.
some are
Yeah.
or I tend to get the feeling, or I gravitate toward there's a certain sort of character that I've and there are similar people, sort of actors that I've met before in growing up in school, and John really reminded me of that. It doesn't surprise me that John came in and did some voice work for me. Like, it takes a bit of guts to go into the studio and sort of do something, and I don't ever remember it being a problem. Sort of trying to figure things out. John's like one of those guys you can just sort of make it like a carnival bark or something like that, and he goes in and just sort of does it, and no questions asked, and it's wonderful.
The whole idea of the freaks, that whole idea of the circus sideshow of your life, John's always embraced that.
I love that. Yeah, the imagery and art.
That's his favorite tune to always say when things are going wrong.
Well, no, absolutely. It's all actually. If we can, it's a good segue into the. So I do videos usually of my music, and I have my own YouTube channel and stuff like that.
No.
So
Maybe I should look into.
And I don't even know how to get there, but I just did a video from a song that I had Adolf Hitler. No, it's true. It's ridiculous when you look back.
Cancel culture. Our show's over.
What is what? What sort of show are we going to do here? Anyway.
So you're for everything he stood for? Is that what you're saying?
Well, some of the things he was good at.
He had a lot of good ideas. He was quite a good chef.
Well, it's funny to listen to it now because People are very complex and stuff like that, and I sort of couch it by saying, so I grew up in the time with Hogan's Heroes and stuff like that. So, like the name Hitler was always like sort of a joke and stuff like that, and so I sort of alluded to the song was me trying to be allegorical to an evil love. So this was just sort of like
love?
an evil love, right?
Like
So I was trying to
romantic
think.
love with
I
an
was
evil
trying to
thing.
think something allegorical to the
Hitler.
yeah, I was trying to find the worst thing
Hitler's like the whole
to
world.
evil. So right, so I was thinking Hitler would be just sort of allegorical to just evil, and I was using that sort of concept. And the very fact that at that time we were able now to sort of grab audio and stuff like that. This is sort of just at the start.
And
of
sorry,
that.
this is from Bite Down Heart?
So yeah, so this
Okay.
is from Bite Down Hard. It's
Okay.
yeah, so I ended up. So you'll hear
Yeah,
Adolf
it-
Hitler on this. The interesting thing about this is, is that I double tracked the vocal just to bring the vocal up.
Wow.
And so this is the first time in 30 years I got to sing with myself, but I really enjoyed it. Like I sort of do songs and then off
Could
to
you
the
keep
next
up
one.
with the Younger, Stronger, Byron?
Yeah, I got it by about the third one. It was really fun to do. But can we play it? It's just
Yeah.
sort of and I'm really enjoyed the guitar work at the end, which is with Steve and the bass. But yeah, I just sort of play it. Me-
Okay, so this is
me and
a video redo and one vocal track redo of The Last Days of Hitler were like the first days with you, which is from Bite Down Hard.
Right. Yeah.
And we're all going to hear this.
So
except
this
for
is
you,
like an
for the
edit
first time.
from the song. This is not the full song, so I just used part of the song. I was more interested in the circus-like stuff at the end, which you'll hear. So yeah, I just thought I'd so I play it.
Okay,
About two
here we go.
minutes of,
Jesus.
In unserem Zeichen wieder singen!
I don't have to justify myself. I don't have to take no more of this. She needs children. She wants a home. She can't get up now.
In unserem Zeichen! Wieder singen! In unserem Zeichen! In unserem Zeichen! Wieder singen!
So that's supposed to be my take on the romanticity of somebody wanting to get married and have kids and children, and just sort of saying, Xnay, to me, it seems like a very evil proposition. It seems to be you're set for the rest of your life, and it.
I don't get that from that video.
Right, but anyway, so I used
No,
that.
go ahead.
I used that Hitler, and that's why at that time I look at it now and you can sort of laugh at yourself. I don't know how serious I was back then, but I think it was very easy for me to do. It'd be different now, sort of doing it like whether you want to sort of add that all that stuff. But it was interesting using.
I didn't recognize the extra vocal so much. I wasn't really I wasn't fixated on it, but I didn't. Really...
Well, one of the problems was with the mix that we had, my vocals seemed a bit lower to me. So actually, I wanted to have it that I think the vocals have been brought up by adding my other vocal. I didn't put any reverb or anything. I just made sure that I could get them up, and I didn't want to.
Tried to do the same thing, not harmonize, just.
Yeah, I didn't want to add to it. I just wanted to just bring it up with stuff.
Did
like
you
that.
find the Hitler speech separate and yank that out, or is there music under that you just tried to?
No, it was separate. But the interesting thing about the Hitler thing is I don't know what the hell he's saying, and like
That's always worth to ask,
it's ridiculous that I have no clue. It could be the most vile thing that you've ever heard,
Yeah.
or you could be
Black
ordering.
lives don't matter.
You could be ordering a coffee right there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But, right, but that wasn't the point. It was the effect that it's him
Wow.
shouting, and
We know that of his personality. He was very forceful. Yes.
right. But I say people like that are very sort of incredibly complex. I mean, like Hitler himself painted. And he painted in his own eyes what he thought was beauty and stuff like that. It's ridiculous, the depravity of where humans can go and stuff like that.
Well, I suppose like any human, if they paint, they're gonna paint with it. Like if Donald Trump all of a sudden picked up oil painting, I can imagine what his oil painting would be like: dollar signs, stomping on poverty-stricken people,
Yeah,
they're going to express themselves.
it's incredible that somebody like Adolf Hitler can paint like beauty. Like does that mean he's got a whiff of empathy? Is there some sort of part of him? Is there?
Well, yeah, if you were subscribing to his
Hitler's
point of view
God.
100%, then I'm sure he was a kind, gentle person who was only trying to do good things.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's like the God of the Old Testament. He destroyed
Yeah.
all of Earth, and you're going, that's
Yeah.
a benevolent being. What did the raccoon do to you? So
Yeah.
he's wiped out too.
Yeah.
He just flooded all this stuff is so much bullshit and hypocrisy and.
Well, again, I think it's just provocative to present. Just as soon as you say Hitler,
So you're for him.
roll on the day. What?
You say you're for what he's doing.
Yeah, and I love Norm Macdonald's bit on Hitler's dog.
That's right, eh?
It's just the dog. The best part was sort of once Hitler was gone, I was like, yeah, Goring's here, and that's all good. But where's that guy Hitler? I really like that guy. Anyway, fucking, just
Yeah, my whole
sums it
world
all
is just
up
our
perfectly.
interaction. It has nothing to do with the rest of what he's about. It's just
yeah.
he and I are together.
He's a good guy. That Hitler.
Sure. So I mean, like that's but and
But
so-
anyway, it's fucking awesome. There's the first thing I can't remember you recording that sort of thing. It's like I did listen to Emmeline one with
right, and it's
recognize that, but I can't remember that at all.
it's interesting that you just said that about being sort of sensitive and stuff like that, especially now and stuff like that. So like I purposely do not not that there is anyways, but. Even on my YouTube channel, I do not read comments and stuff like that. It'd be so hard to be an artist now and having to deal with, especially on social media, all the comments and stuff like that. You hear comedians that don't even want to go out and out to the clubs anymore, or play at college places because they figure it's just so hard.
Even
to,
like this super generic, like Jerry Seinfeld, he never swear. He won't go out and play.
Yeah.
He might go out
I'm
and play.
fascinated with that whole debate, like Bill Burr of, there's lots of stuff of him on talking about the dilemma of.
Well, what do you think? Do you indulge
This is all we wanted to do is get you on the show and then press you for a political
but
opinion on
I
stuff.
don't
What do you think of the ethnic communities?
John Cooke speaking for black people.
No, but as an artist, though, somebody. What's that other term that they use now about cultural appropriation and stuff like that?
Virtue signaling, all that bullshit.
Like sort of there's
Correctors, so yeah.
like it just goes on, like it's just this incredible rabbit hole and stuff like that.
Yeah, in work there's all kinds of debates about monuments stuff. I work with First Nations and stuff, so all the the statues and shit. And that whole debate. So my thing is like, I don't know, but it's just we'll find something bad about everybody, right?
Well, I think it's pretty easy to find bad stuff about celebrity and Hollywood. Like when you see this cancel culture thing now, and shows are going, well, we're not going to hire them. They've been doing things for years that are so against that grain, and then all of a sudden today they wake up and go, oh, I'm woke. So
yeah.
you can't voice that person's voice anymore because you're not like the guy from the Simpsons, Hank Azaria. Okay, not going to renew. So all of a sudden you're justified because you're letting them go now.
Yeah.
I hate this fucking after the fact trying to erase all, scrub your history and.
Yeah. Well, that to me, counterpoint, I guess, on the left side, is just if, okay, there's these stupid fucking, we gotta change the ship this way, or, you know, it's horrible. Thinking, well, yeah, I'd rather like it just kind of go that way a bit, you know, and if we have to have a bunch of idiots, you know, pushing it this way to get it going that way, you know, of not, you know, grandizing slavery, hey? You know? Anyway, I could go on and on about that.
Yeah.
'cause, yeah, I don't know.
John's American, just so you all know.
Yeah.
He's born in Baltimore.
There, again, like, if
Do you
the
vote?
specific.
Do you still
No.
vote? You not, are you
Yeah,
not?
No,
make
I'm
a
not a
choice,
citizen.
right?
I haven't done the paperwork. I'm so lazy. That's my
When we were
thing.
younger, I
checked
remember
it
John
out.
saying, I have to make a choice. I have to be Canadian or
Yeah,
American.
24 at the time. His mom would always say, they're gonna send you to Vietnam. Well, it's 1974, Mom. The war is over. But
He's
anyway.
13.
Yeah.
And he cooks.
Yeah.
Literally.
But back to the sort of the Hitler thing of presenting art and, you know, and trying to find your own context and stuff. You know, I think if it opens up to, you know, like these statues, if they have this guy, okay, he did this, like Jefferson, wicked guy, from what I hear, you know, wrote some wicked documents, but had
Wicked
slaves.
as in bad or
Was
good?
he also, well, didn't he write the Declaration? Wasn't he?
Well, yeah, he was one of the authors for sure.
Didn't he also
Well, you
own
could say wicked
slaves?
good or wicked,
Wicked
bad.
good.
Wicked,
Wicked
good
good.
stuff.
So
But
didn't
then
he also
loved
own
the
slaves? So
Well, the
So-
Civil War was about slaves.
yeah.
That's
So
what I'm
that's a
saying.
bad
Like, why
thing.
are people shocked that the southern states are still pretty racist?
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
I'm constantly amazed, thinking that we all live in sort of our enlightened, like everybody is awesome, and then when you see the stories, you go, what? What? People still do that?
Again, huge road down stupidity, especially watching American news and stuff.
Zoinks.
I don't want to get into that.
No, and that's what I'm
Wow.
saying. This is not a political.
Yeah.
Right,
We got to
but-
get off
because
of this.
the-
I'm gonna.
Sort of
Cancel
the
it, sure.
tool of social media, though, I would suggest might have exacerbated all this sort of discussion about like what it.
Oh,
this
most
cancel
definitely,
culture
for
and
sure.
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Definitely.
And I'm just saying, like, although I use YouTube, I don't read anything. I purposely don't look at it. I really, and excuse me, but I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks about what I
Like you're
really
saying, don't
enjoy
include
doing.
me in your society.
Yeah. And
I don't worry about
yeah,
that.
absolutely. And I remember doing this Hitler thing, and Steve and I were talking about it just recently about Hitler, about like, are you allowed to? And I almost had to, before I said this, put it in context about how I experienced him when I was growing up, and it was a big joke. I mean, it was like
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
Mel
Yeah,
Brooks.
yeah, exactly.
Hogan
Yeah,
T.
yeah.
Rose, and
Mel Brooks.
all the Monty Python
the great
skits and
dictator,
stuff
Charlie
like
Chaplin.
that.
They made fun
yeah,
of him, and
right.
it was fun to make fun of him.
So
Laughing. What was the one with the guy?
go.
Oh yeah. Very interesting. That guy. Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
massive.
Artie Johnson.
Artie
Johnson from
yeah,
Behind the Firm.
right. For in laughing,
But
absolutely.
it's not like they put up a sign saying we like Nazis and that's
Yeah.
why we do this. It's like they're laughable.
Yeah.
They're so stupid.
Right. Yeah. So, but I almost felt the urge to have to couch that to
Right,
say
put
that.
like a
but
caption.
yeah, but so
I'm not for it.
as far as social media is, so I don't indulge it just for that reason. It seems
Yeah.
too restrictive,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I love not dealing with that because. The other part of the internet is that the internet just brings the world to you, and I use the internet or as a tool to help me sort of create. There's lots of
Okay,
little
yeah.
rabbit holes that you can that helps you sort of inspire you and stuff like
for
that.
sure, yeah.
But yeah, as far as it's
Reaction
terrible.
to.
It must be really hard for people to sort of create and stuff like that. When they have all these, can I say this? Can I say this?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
The YouTube when you do a
I mean,
video.
really, what is it you would say other than, the ultimate is, it used to be the C word, the 4-letter C word that you
Yeah.
just didn't want to. Now it's the other 6-letter N word. That's the basement, right?
Unless
that's
you're
the worst thing you could go to. So other than
if you're a white guy.
yes, well that's what I'm saying. When you're criticized for something,
Right.
that's the bottom rung, right?
Right.
I could say cunt. Yeah, I might bleep that out. You never know. Yeah, I certainly would bleep out the N word if I threw it, but I will not throw that out there. Anyways, I'm saying, but you wouldn't. I don't think you would, as an artist, say I gotta say that word to get my point across. But there's nothing else that you would say that is so bad because you're not a bad person.
Yeah, I just at the end, just sort of to put a video down, like they add certain restrictions.
Here we go.
Oh, we can do it? Okay, great.
Yeah. So here we go. This is me getting a call from one of my employers.
Yay.
Hey Scott,
Hi, Steve.
how's it going?
Good. What's up?
Well, I'm just sitting here in the studio doing some work. What are you doing?
I was working out.
Working
You
out.
called me 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, weren't we gonna call at 10 o'clock today?
1 o'clock.
I knew that. Just wanted to test to see if you were working out or not.
Okay.
Okay, I'll talk to you then.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Oh, that's too bad.
He's hanging out going, fucking idiot.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's our buddy Scott. John and I do a lot of big music festivals. That's our summer gigs. This guy is like the technical director of them. He does some insanely high-end work. I mean, he's great. He's a great guy, but anybody who's worked in production, he's all in production.
He's awesome. He's
Motherfucking
awesome, but
chicken. Hey, how you doing?
He's awesome, buddy. We're head of the Teamsters for sure.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but you have to be to get that kind of shit done, no doubt.
To push the conversation this
Yeah.
way, to me, what was interesting, it's just like, okay, I was going to ask, but did you know what was the translation of what Hitler said there? And I thought, well, I bet you didn't, because it's just kind of the percussive nature of it. It's perfect, and you get all this baggage or whatever term behind it of people's either Hogan's Heroes or the worst. From the funniest Artie Johnson to the fucking worst.
The
picture
literal,
you can imagine.
exact, Holocaust.
That we all, a lot of it share in sort of this culture, but
But I think you should
just
even make
funny,
fun
it's just
of them.
percussive. It's a percussive instrument.
Well, if you
Yeah.
notice too, that
It
in
could
that
be a Caribbean instrument. You're reminded of the South. You're reminded of a sunny day.
that break, if you remember, I think you picked it more because it had that. We always talk about Byron. He writes words that fit into the music well,
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of
yeah.
writing a poem and then trying to put it into music.
Yeah.
And so Hitler, we did the same thing. I know there was like he goes handsome person, yeah, schwack with the snare drum, and
Yeah,
almost
right.
like if you just count it out, it almost works.
Yeah.
Like where he starts is scat doesn't matter because when he ends that rah, schla, dum,
Right, so if you heard that I put his voice toward the end, and
yeah, a couple of bits. That's why I asked if you had it separated from the music.
yes, I did, and that's why it works so well because it was very percussive. and
Oh yeah,
stuff
well it
like
is
that.
kind of separated.
So I was just gonna say, YouTube has restrictions when you publish a video, whether you make it for kids or not.
Yeah.
And I was in a big any video I do, I always try and make for kids. My drawings are sort of very
Yeah.
sort of. I just like I'm a kid myself, so I like to make all my videos. But I was really sort of verplunked.
Yeah.
Vexed.
That's a big word.
Verplunked.
I used to play Verplunk when I was a kid. I loved it.
I was verplunked because I put on an eel in the background from the Reichstag. There's a vision of the eagle that sort of flashes in there.
Okay.
And I was kind of verplunked about whether
That's
that
kids
took
worthy.
me away from being a kid's video. And I was
Well, now you come down to
debating myself.
imagery.
Jesus. And
Whether
yeah.
what's wrong with a 10-year-old finding out about Adolf Hitler was there,
Well, you kind of hope they would, so they learn
Yeah,
the horrible
absolutely.
things that humankind is capable of.
There's the
absolutely,
intention.
or you become a Republican.
Versus-
Or
Well,
you're
well,
cursed to
you know-
repeat history, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, history will always repeat itself.
Yeah.
It always. I mean, I don't care what lessons you learn. There's always a person that comes along that is a sociopath, power-hungry freak that says, I don't give a shit what history has taught us.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
That model worked
Donald
before.
Trump.
Well,
So-
I'm glad I brought this video out, so we've had
Boy,
this
thanks.
discussion that's
Thanks a
probably
lot.
going to be
Why the one
disbanded,
viewer?
and,
Hey, that one viewer we had.
I'll see you
Goodbye.
I'll see you in court, John. Okay, can we have a break? Can we have a half-hour
We
break?
normally take a little break in the half. Matter of fact, I'm going to let all the people know now. I'm thinking of
We're gonna do
doing
the
a
John thing.
Hang on, I'm thinking of doing a new style
Brand
because
new.
these 1 hour and 20-minute dirges that you and I go on,
Yeah.
it's great. But I think what we need to do is cut them up into 10-minute bits and title each 10-minute bit and
I
just
agree.
keep pumping a ton of shit. So we'll get more than that one viewer. Thanks, Mom.
I think it's 5. That was
Is
going to
it?
be my prediction.
5 viewers?
Yes.
Really? We don't have 5 viewers. I subscribe.
Once I'm on the show,
He
baby.
never watches. He doesn't even subscribe or anything. Thanks a lot.
I can't watch myself talk about myself.
Just
I'm
subscribe.
horrified,
If you
and I
subscribe,
don't-
that'll
and I feel so
increase our
sorry for
viewership
Steve.
100%.
Like, I wish I could.
Again, to me, it's.
I'm just
Well,
horrified.
we'll see when we come back what we're gonna get into.
Thank you. No, you got it. I have those 3 masks in my car.
Oh,
The
good for
Halloween
you.
Mask we could wear for the next. There's a gorilla and there's a crazy clown and stuff like. Do you want to wear the mask?
As long as the chainsaw doesn't come out, I'm okay.
Yeah, well, there was a mention of it before the show.
Hey, I
this is
gotta
how we're
do,
gonna end it.
All right, so I'm going to.
Say it again.
Welcome to this week's episode 40. We're going to be breaking this down. So we just finished a pretty in-depth political conversation about Byron's latest remix of Hitler. Thank you very much for getting that going. But we're going to move on to more softer stuff now. Most recently, I've been working with a classical music group in town to help their virtual festival. And John appreciates his video editor for a living. An enormous amount of work to get done.
Stupid.
It's organized, scheduled, produced, whatever. So one of their things is they have a juggler, like a graphic, of a juggler and a circle of things he's juggling. So one of the things this fella asked me is, and just animate the juggler. So I went to Byron, who works on animation and stuff now. I said, give me. So he made the juggler, and now it is in every video. It's the first thing you see.
Oh, is
Okay.
it?
So I'm gonna show you just one of the videos I put together for them, because this I find is really interesting. This one. Oh yeah, it's great, and you're gonna love it. I just picked this guy because they have 3 series, like Music and Law, Music and Nature, Music and Circus, and then they have one called Beyond Ottawa, which is like a miscellaneous pile for the weirder kind of classical musicians.
Okay.
You're gonna like this one.
Anyway.
So I just want to show Byron what his opening is, and then I thought we'd just take a quick look at this this video, and you'll see what I'm doing, for the heck of it. So let's go here. There's your juggler right there, Byron.
And that's your work there, making those little things move around.
I put the things in. I put them the wrong way. This is how each one.
Oh, that worked out
Each
fine.
video is starting up like that. Every video you'll see that. But so this is what I'm doing here. That's why I was shooting it. It's all of the First Nations folks were.
I wasn't paying attention.
Hello and welcome. I'm Julian Armour, the director of Music and Beyond.
This part. I got this.
Welcome to Music and Nature.
I love
Today,
Julian Armour.
you're going to hear one of the most famous pieces of classical music, the famous Flight of the Bumblebee by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov. But you've never heard it like
Dear Music and
Yeah,
Beyond
so
friends,
then he
I was
goes
supposed to be in Ottawa this year to perform several concerts on my theremin and to celebrate with you the fact that this year marks the 100th anniversary of my instrument. As you can see, I'm still in the Netherlands. For obvious reasons, I can't make it to Canada this year, but I promise I will make it up to you next year. In the meantime, enjoy this little selection of pieces I put together from my repertoire. Stay safe, healthy, and I
This
see
is
you all
just one of the
soon.
pieces. He's got a few of them. This is ridiculous. You go, how does he do this?
Somebody down said, maybe we should see
Watch this one.
Queen lands on there. That's good.
Yeah, so
Yeah, awesome.
Music and Beyond, subscribe to that. All those videos are up there. Anyway, so long story short, this whole series is it's about Byron's output, but truthfully, it's all about creativity. Where does it come from? Where do you find it? How do you get inspired? And it's really neat because we kind of apply that to Byron's stuff because he's worked in such a weird little Byronic vacuum for so long. I love the fact that you're not influenced by what's kind of cool now. You remain on your own. You do what you like.
Yeah, I would just see at some point of all these podcasts that in my 30s somebody just sort of put in just follow your heart, and that's sort of seemed to
The phrase is just
be the key. That's sort of your road to happiness. Just find things that you feel that you enjoy, and it's easier to finish things off when you're not worried what other people think and stuff like that. So I think that was a very important thing, and I actually have it in one of my songs I did a few years ago about follow your heart. It sounds very trite and it sounds sort of, but it is true. That's where you.
again, there's certain cliches that just along your life, you'll see it a million places on like crochet little things in the houses and all that one day. That fucked up day where all of a sudden,
absolutely.
I don't have money, but I am happy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And sometimes I think, well, maybe I'm not like those other people, and maybe I shouldn't be able to find my happiness. But I've always been able to, by myself, find my happiness.
I'm
on my
not
own.
like those other guys.
Absolutely. I
That's
great,
man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Steve using the term vacuum is kind of interesting.
I covered that.
Oh, sorry again.
Jeez.
I just wanted to get your channel here in case there was something we needed to. Okay, so one thing we did want to pick up on because there's a lot of interweaving of our lives and our stuff, and stuff is work between and.
So I want to know something about John.
Me too. So do the viewers.
I do too.
Let's hear it. How long is it? Have you had sex in the last week?
No,
That's what I want to know.
That was terrible. No, I'll shut up.
No, go for it.
Back.
Now I'm interested. What do you want to know about him?
No, let me stop interrupting you right in the middle of the sentence, so I'll forget
No,
exactly
go
what
for
I was
it.
going to say. So,
I want to hear it now.
No, fuck, please interrupt me then. At least it'll be I forget what I was going to say, so it doesn't matter now.
Your channel is so small I can't damn find it.
I was going to ask him in those early times. So John, you played bass. Like bass used to be your instrument. And
He says used to.
Well, no, because I asked John.
It's applicable.
You played in the Hublers.
Oh, well, let me tell the viewers because they're hot to know. This was the original Hubler. The only thing is Mike Greer, but
6
John
years.
is the one.
Oh, there's our 6th viewer
Who's
just
that?
tagging in.
Oh, really? Oh, no, that's my wife.
Anyway.
So you did you pick up the bass to join the Hublers? Was that just?
Well,
sort of-
again, how long do you have? But thinking about how I would describe sort of what I would talk about with Byron and explain myself, sort of thing, is just knowing Steve since whenever. Later in life, just living with the fact that I can't tune. Pitch doesn't it doesn't matter to me. And timing is equally bad.
Well, those two things aren't
don't
much
they
of
cancel
music.
Not
Other
very
than those two
important
things,
music. Yeah.
other than those two things, we got it nailed down.
And just sort of refining it so the musician and the average viewer can understand how I've at least figured myself out. Know thyself, again, another capture phrase sort of thing is all my buddies can listen to music. Oh, there's 6/8 time followed by a fine Henry. I hear 1 1 1 1 1.
So that would be the flight of the
It's a
bumblebee.
1-1 time
So
signature.
That would be the flight of the bumblebee.
Speed it up.
Sort of a,
Speed it up. And so just in the shared universe that we lived in, of all these geniuses that could hear every little it was just kind of all the sort of thing. So to me now, again, depending, I forget exactly what your question was. But
about learning the bass and stuss like
bass,
that.
yeah. So there you go. Yeah, hi, Leaf. Hey, I don't know if we ever got to Steve's introduction. That bass right there.
You had a white Aldegus P bass, the first one. If you remember,
Yes.
John and Max and I, we loved Kiss so much that we went out and bought,
Huge.
Max and I bought white and black Aldegus Les Pauls. John bought a white Aldegus bass, and we used to air band to Kiss alive in his basement.
'Cause
Like
they couldn't
probably
tune
3
it.
times a week.
So,
So that's where we fake learned to play.
yeah.
Okay, so because I'm trying to get to the point that there's a song. So there's some. Were you writing songs back then? Like, did you start
Yeah, I
making stuff
wanted,
up?
you know.
It doesn't surprise me, but were you making stuff up?
The long story is, wanted to be a musician and just sort of drifted into video through some fluke or other. And again, like if you tell John Cooke's story, I think about, oh man, how much, the first sort of magical thing, and sorry to go off on it, but here I go, thinking about, coming in and saying these things, that, you're talking about Nelson Riddle and those sort of early influences you had that, shaped what you're doing, or have at least a root of what you're doing. For me, it was watching movies, just the magic of going down to the Brockville Bijou, or Saturday, they talk about musicians, oh, I was playing my guitar on Saturday afternoon when the kids were playing baseball. I was watching movies, I remember kids out playing, no, it's Frankenstein, man, the 1932
Monster
version of
movie
Frankenstein.
matinee. Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock.
Yeah, so to kind of, like just if the whole thing's drifted around to that kind of thing, there was years where, I was trying to do music, but I was horrible. I was another one of those, guys coming in the studio, I got a song, that
It's
so
interesting.
it's weird to see,
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, but it's interesting that very talented people that sometimes don't have all the tools in a certain genre still have ideas that they want to explore and stuff like that. And obviously, like you had sort of like a limited tool palette to
Exactly,
use,
yeah.
but you still had ideas, musical ideas in your head, right?
Right.
Which is, I think, just like a wonderful thing.
Well, the one thing about, I think, all we've done, because we are not A-list artists out there touring and all, it does give you a certain freedom to do exactly what you want, instead of saying, this is what we signed you for. And go out and play that album again, go out and play that album again. You couldn't do it. Like, it's proven. He can't do that.
No.
He can't revisit stuff.
Yeah.
And 300 times over 2 years, night after night, you would shoot yourself or something.
That's not the point. Yeah.
Right, that's not the point. So it does offer you a certain freedom, like you say, okay, I'm going to explore the attic in my brain.
Yeah. And I think just, wanting to be a musician found in lyrics, that just, and people, just that ultimate thing where you show your lyrics and, hey, that's kind of cool, and you getting feedback from fellow musicians is the closest thing that got me into more and more into writing.
Interesting that you could sort of do that with again with such a limited palette, but in a way you are.
It's amazing. You're so shitty, yet you can still output something.
But in another way, you're unlimited because you're unconstrained by anything
Talent.
Exactly.
No, but
I'm the same way, though.
you're unconstrained by the tools of whether it's the guitar or piano. So that will take you down sort of in your own rabbit hole, but in your head.
Well,
But that's the thing, like I hear the symphonies in my head, but I can't explain it to
silly
them.
symbol.
In my head, it sounds like.
Is it in time and in tune, or is it this? Or
But what I mean, that's what is art. Like if all your music is dissonant, like, and it's just weird, but if you think it's okay, like, what was it? I was talking about somebody who created this musical piece. At the classical, like, these people are the highest musicians in the world, right? And this guy's playing this piece, and right near the end, he throws this note in, and I said, and I thought it was a classical composer, and I said, that's kind of funny that whole piece is so beautiful, and that one bar has that weird note. He goes, well, I wrote it, and I knew it was kind of dissonant, and I didn't know I was going, oops, sorry. I didn't want to, prefer my expertise on the classical.
I would have said, that was awesome, buddy. But anyway, you hear that.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I went, oh, that doesn't
Stood
sound
out
cool.
in the whole
But
20 minutes or
to
whatever.
them, it was needed right at that moment. So, who the hell am I?
Yeah.
So, you say that's art. Maybe you're the greatest artist in the world, and all the rest of anybody is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. And again, there's no right and wrong.
Well, my latest trademark thing is, how the said there's only two types of music: good music and bad music. We've all heard that expression, right?
Right.
I'm now saying there's only one type of music, and it's all good. It just wasn't meant for you. You know, so that note might have kind of, not be meant for Steve Johnson, but somebody else. So
Ice cream is like an ice cream flavor.
it's ice cream.
Not always.
Well, you listen to that
flavor.
death speed metal, and you go, who listens? Other than like if you're 13 and getting boners all the time,
Yeah.
I mean, that might be interesting, but really. But there are people who dig it, and I know 40-year-olds who listen to that stuff. Oh, it's great. John Cody, a good friend of ours, he's in our vintage. He loves, well, he did. He loved heavy, and he would just put the album on and just listen to like Slayer or something, and just listen to it. And I thought, I can't do that.
Yeah. Again, I'm just trying to love everything now. Like just.
Get out. We won't have that here.
Yeah, but just I know like there's certain types of music that I just had my fill of
course.
and just. But
Sometimes those types of music, though, it is. So it's music and context. So like sometimes music that you don't like, if you put more things into context. I was never a big fan of Beethoven generally. There's like his Seventh to me is wonderful. As not to downplay his this is his 500th. Is this?
He's not dead yet. I thought,
Oh man.
Anyway, awesome.
Awesome.
Beethoven's
I
awesome.
heard it up. I
forgot
But
this is a
Chopin
comedy show, right?
sucks.
We didn't tell you, this is a
Okay,
comedy
so
show.
we're talking
That's all
about
it is.
Beethoven. So John, so I'm curious about the song that John and I did. Because
Right. Let's
where
get back to it.
So absurd non sequiturs from Beethoven. Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I would
so
write
we-
stuff. I would write. There'd be musicals. Like one of the first, again, just sort of catching up the common things. I produced this art video. I think it was 17 minutes in the end or whatever. And I got
The
Steve.
baby drop.
The baby drop.
Serious, that's what it goes.
Art
He won
scene.
awards for
Won
it.
awards, maybe toured the world.
It was in Italy,
Just-
right?
Yeah.
Too bad they didn't fly you
A
over.
piece
there.
of crap like I don't. Well, I haven't seen it in 10 years. Do not play it.
Oh my God, I'm gonna play it
Why
right
do you
here.
have to?
Did you hear that pop? Just like that was cool.
But yeah, how far back you want to go there? But it was
Don't
kind
let
of
the show interrupt my work.
Yeah, where I would write stuff. So I'd always do a lot of music with Steve, writing soundtracks for
These
these
crazy
little artsy
videos.
videos that I was living in Toronto.
And
part
so
of
I
the-
would cart my Tascam 244 up to Toronto to his apartment, and we would record for days.
Huh.
And I remember one time we would get drunk and high, whatever. Not much drunk, but
Not much drunk,
we'd go
wow.
out and we would rent a trombone, come back to his apartment, and
I
we
was working. We got those for free. I was working at this place
Right.
to fix musical instruments.
Like
so
Ryan
I
Smith.
grabbed a couple trombones. I was playing.
and we'd learn what we had to. We play the trombone
6 a.m. in the morning. I remember it was.
on acid or something.
Trombone, do it again.
It's
Take
just crazy, but I
27.
think some of those are the most wonderful times that I have as memories. Like just and going to that studio and the 8-track studio, and doing that
Yeah.
song. These guys were great, and they must have thought these guys are fucking nuts.
And again, awesome. I met her. Like just fell into this awesome musician. But anyway, to tie it back to here, I have no memory of what was going on other than just I would continue to write and actually. Yeah.
So what I can do is I can set it up. I think I have the intermixed of you. Like John would send me little things. I have a whole bunch of his stuff, and he says don't play it,
Horrifying.
but I have a whole bunch of his stuff. So
Horrifying.
when you said, "Hey, if there's anything you got, maybe," so right away I thought, well, this would be a good marriage. So I sent along John's kind of musical ramblings because this wasn't I'm not sure if it was a finished piece or not, but it was you kind of going slap bang, see bang, the way he talked.
Because I can't sing in tune, but I know I got the pipes right. That's the other curse.
I love it.
That's the fucking curse. If ever, and here we go. If I can live to 2040,
You got the pipe.
get
you can't
something
hit
in the
notes.
brain that just fucking tunes it in, man, I would fucking rule the world, man. Well, these pipes, oh Jesus.
These pipes are made for singing.
Exactly.
So I took this, whatever it was, kind of half-baked thing John came up with, sent
Fully
it to
baked.
you, fully baked, half-baked, fully poured, sent it to Byron, who then put it in his oven for a bit, and then sent back this thing. And we're going to actually listen to it, because you haven't heard. Now, I think it's a little bit long, but those viewers that have watched Dad's Quality Stories will recognize it as the story background, because it contains like a myriad of styles and like it goes big. It's more cinematic than anything else. So without further ado,
That's right. This song played down hard.
It's
No.
not on the album. It's something I just I did
Just
and I
you and
can't.
Byron.
So the interesting is I can't remember anything about it. But it's interesting to hear stuff that you can't remember. Do you remember any of this?
Again, so I think Steve might have played this for me 10 years ago or something, and
yeah.
I'm just horrified to hear what I was, whatever I was doing.
I'm telling you, this is
I thought it
awesome.
was brilliant at the time. That's the magic of it.
Okay, let's get to it.
That
Ready?
is the magic of it.
And so here, without a title, here we go. Oh,
And I'll look that way. 'Cause, hey, get the big knob.
I've always been trying to decipher what's his, what's yours, you know. It's only 3 minutes and 20 seconds. You guys go out and tour with this. You guys go on a tour with this summer. What goes with this? Pizzicato. I see you walking out like
I do remember it.
oh,
Slip time, slide
It's good, you know, it's not obvious Tom waits for you to fuck out of your Valentine's.
Neon Red Bull.
yeah.
It's got that Smiths, just
Yeah,
Smiths,
yeah.
very sort of English angst. No, in a good way.
I love Smith's music.
Yes, the Euro Frankfurt. A bit of a bass. You could have a
Gotta remix that vocal up a little.
yeah.
A lot of reverb. Byron loves reverb. Reverb. Who are you?
You butchered it.
So this is the first song on your new album. I didn't know you guys were a band.
So do you remember? Well, we'll finish that one.
It's kind of, you know, cinematic band. Kind of makes sounds more than words in my ears.
Maybe listening to all the reverb in my headphones. Why did I try?
I got that part.
That Blade Runner.
Yeah. I tell you, I love it.
film is just right. You know, it's Cooke. That's wonderful. You know, in its own way, it's wonderful. I
The
think
Cooke
it's,
Edwards experiment.
Yeah, I would put his voice a bit more sort of like a vocoder at the end.
Yeah, but that kind of stuff's fun, you know, when
It's
you send it
wonderful.
around to everybody, well, try this, do something with it.
Yeah.
I sent Byron, I don't think I updated to the new Logic 10.5. It's ridiculously great.
Right.
You can just grab loops and you just sort of,
Yeah.
it's like nuts. So I just created this little music track. I don't think I sent it to you, but I sent it to Byron. I said, what do you think of this? And it's fun to send those things out and go, and it might be 3 years before I see it again, but I assume it'll show up somewhere, and you always love to see, what did you do with that?
Yeah. Again, for full disclosure, the line, if and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a very fine Christmas.
Is that in there?
Yeah, I first heard of Joe Bowen, and the Leafs were horrible. And they'd get
They
like into
were.
the third period and like, oh my God, but and he'd have this expression, but if and buts were candies and nuts. And so I got to credit that one to Joe Bowen. from
Is
where
that
he
what you're
got it.
saying on there? Is
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
All
no,
I know is
seriously.
Right, so there you go. There,
what
talking
might have
earlier.
been, could have been, maybe
Should have
never
been.
should have been, but never will be or something.
What could have been, might have been, and maybe even should have been, if and buts were candies and nuts.
Oh, that's how.
And we'd all have a lovely Christmas day. And again, talking about those iconic things like Hitler, Christmas Day, you know, and so I thought, it's perfect, you know, and I stole it, I plagiarized it, that's the new Snake River motto.
Plagiarist Society.
Plagiarist Society.
Oh,
owns
sorry,
all
to
of
be
that.
clear, are those your lyrics? Did you?
So no, I stole it from Joe Bowen.
Okay, so,
The
okay,
candies
okay,
and
okay,
nuts.
okay,
The would have
okay.
been, should have been is mine.
That's wonderful.
That's never been said
That-
before.
No. Trademark. You
Yeah,
can't say
you can't
it.
use
just
those
said-
words in that
you gotta,
order.
You gotta
can
cut
do it in another order.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Been should have what have.
Yeah.
That's okay.
If you spell it, you can't capitalize it.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's
You can't
it's-
mouth it or
is.
sign it.
Okay, so that's probably the first time I've ever heard that. I think I would have probably like remembered that phrase. So it's interesting that I put it together, and I was just more interested in the sound of his voice than.
And you can tell you probably just cut certain spots and just line it up to the beginning of this bar, line it up to the beginning of that bar,
Sure.
and it ends up working great.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's more the sound of his voice. Yeah, so as you said, it was sort of that Leon Redbone. You'd be smoking.
I tried again. I made an effort, you know, and Tom Waits, I thought it'd be, you know,
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely.
if I became a Tom Waits clone, but yeah.
You do,
Disappointing.
yeah, that's right. Hey, Tom Waits. Is he a big? Are you a big fan of?
Again, his stories, you know, I love his stories, and it's just such a theatrical guy, you know. And I saw him live once when he did this big time tour. If you look for a documentary on a tour, you know, just event coverage sort of thing. It was one of his, anyway, 80 or something, early 80s, and it fucking blew me away with the performance, the live performance, which again, coming back to the Wobblers there, is another string that I'd like to get to, but you're asking about, yeah, Tom Waits, love Tom Waits, and the storytelling.
Yeah, you guys should do something about the Wobblers sometime together. I would, yeah, but
Yeah.
I'd love to be in the middle and ask you guys the questions about.
Matter of
your
fact, here's a
band.
picture of all three of us in the Wobblers.
I mean,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you guys should.
there you go, I don't know why I drifted into that, but yeah, I was trying to remember. I know you played with us for my last gig, the Downstairs Club. Did you play any other gigs?
I
Oh,
played
yeah.
one at the Arts Court, I remember.
Yeah.
Didn't
We
you
did
play
one at
like
the
a
Arts
dozen
Court.
gigs with us or something?
I know a
Yeah.
lot, but I
About a
just
year you played with us, wasn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
And as I said to Steve, it was fun for me because I'm so indulgent in my own little world. It's nice to sort of go out and just sort of play guitar.
And the Hublers would be set up, and it'd be like, you know, the four of us, and Byron always put himself way over to the corner of the
Right.
stage, and you could sometimes hear what he was doing.
It reminded me of Crazy Horse, just sort of that sort of
Do what
vibe
you
and
want.
stuff like that. Do what you want, and of course we had the magnificent Mike Greer as the songwriter. So
Well, it's nice not to be the guy, right? Because you're usually the writer, the singer,
Yeah,
the guy.
and
Not that you have a lot of shine on you, but
no,
self-selected. But
Yeah.
it's fun just to sort of shtick off somebody else's,
Mm-hmm.
and his songs were a lot more sort of simpler to sort of
Easy to learn, it's
easy
not
to
like a
learn and stuff
huge
like that. So yeah, it
band.
was
Yeah.
an enjoy, and most importantly, it was just fun to hang out with you guys. So
Yeah, I remember the rehearsals more than
Jeb
I remember the
Bond was our
downstairs-
drummer, old Jeb Bond. Hey, Jeb.
There you go, yeah. And I
Because
remember, yeah.
You could just, the nice thing with the Hublers, and with Bob Bangs playing, and that when Bob Bangs played in the Hublers for a year and a half or so, Mike and I used to say, we just stop playing and it sounds awesome. Like, so you could play and then you just stop and wear the song, oh, fuck, and go, hi, this is great. I can do
Yeah.
anything I want.
Oh.
So your tenure lasted till you moved, I guess.
Yeah, moved up north, yeah.
Right, and that's when John James filled in.
And again, my thing was, you know, if I learn to play bass, we can get a band together there, kids. And I wanted Byron because
Was
it's
there
just
only
more.
two bass players ever, except for after, like, the newest incantation of the Hublers, which was like, you know, I see bands come to Blues Fest. There's one guy, the keyboard player in the band,
Oh,
who's
right,
still going
right,
under the
yeah,
name.
yeah, yeah.
That was kind of the Hublers at that point. You know, it was
There you
Mike
go.
Greer and a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
But I think there was only you and John James as far as bass players.
Oh,
and drummers.
yeah. But yeah, just sort of, I think Steve mentioned it in an earlier story of how he's sitting down on the couch as the three of us are jamming. And he decided, what the fuck am I doing?
You and Turtle and Mike,
Yeah.
you at our little house we had on St. Andrew. Just one day, you said, "Hey, Mike and Turtle, come on, I want to get a band together." I said, "No,
Ah.
no."
Yeah,
Because I was
but-
working with John Dewar at the time, and of course,
Which
nobody
again
was
is another
nobody was good
huge-
enough to do anything. So you may as well
Yeah.
just lay your instrument down
Did
and
he
walk
ever
away.
play in the Hublers?
No, but he did.
Did,
Yeah.
What?
did he want to? Or was,
No!
was that the
We
No,
were-
we're the
he is
biggest
too good
joke
for us.
in the world to him.
But according to, again, he did the sound for the first gig, and there was physical
yeah?
feedback going on, and I'll put those two items out there. Love you, Barley.
Pick up that story. John and Turtle and Mike get together,
That's out
and they're upstairs in John's
That's
newly
it for
painted.
you.
So I'm just gonna cut this until I talk.
Anyway,
So,
sorry.
so the story is John and Andrew and Mike they get together and they're upstairs, and John had just painted this room with blue, just blue whatever. So, but they were up there and they're jamming, and I'm downstairs being Mr. Hoity-toity. I'm way too good for all this shit. And I'm hearing them tapping, and I'm going, and I hear them laughing, and I'm going, what the fuck is wrong with me? I went, okay, I'm roughing the lip, I'm in.
Clean.
And
Yeah, I
that
think it
started
lasted
our
one
10-year
rehearsal.
odyssey.
Yeah.
Did you guys, just quickly, because I'm a Hublers fan as well, did you write any songs? Was it all Mike Greer, or was there, did
No,
any
I-
songs?
Estonian folk song.
Seriously?
It's funny, I
don't
wasn't writing
remember
it.
that.
I remember like just having, I didn't write in that time period, write lyrics sort of thing, but yeah,
Musical themes.
we brought in the few broad strokes here and there. But yeah, no,
He
one,
took some stuff from his Faustian opera and repurposed them for
Yes.
the Neil Youngish.
yeah. I had a riff. I had one riff.
I still play it.
It's mine. You can't have
Well,
it.
the neat thing is that you
Yeah.
can take these themes,
Can't
and
touch
funny
it.
enough, if
It's
you
my-
subscribe to the live playing music stuff, which you never would, you can get into these little repetitive grooves, and people love it.
Hypnotic, eh? There's
Because
something
if you do
hypnotic
bring in
about it.
something that's too complicated, people go, I can't drink my beer, talk a little bit, and listen to this, and go, I'm with you. But if we're
Yeah.
just doing Estonian folk song or whatever the hell else we're doing on that sort of, like even hanging around the house, it was just a
whole song right
but
there,
people
yeah.
go, yeah, and you go, it's the stupidest song we do. Well, it's not. It was a great song, but I'm saying it's very whatever. But live, that's what people want.
Yeah.
Yeah, their expectations are,
Yeah.
are probably as
Thank
opposed to
God.
somebody going to see a interpretive jazz dance
Right.
from
Or
Sri
see the
Lanka.
jazz festival. Sorry, I didn't say that.
Yes.
Sorry,
Your
all those
expectations
Sri
would be
Lankan
sort of-
jazz
but
bands
your
out there, but-
expectations would be sort of
Yeah.
set or sort of
Yeah.
put it out there on the thing.
Well,
Well, if
they
you
might
wanna-
come live to our show and go, I don't get this. This is, I don't know.
I was here for the Sri Lankan interpretive jazz.
What the hell's a Hubler?
Yeah.
We got, actually, in our heyday, we had a couple articles written in the American papers, and one, because I got sent this headline when I was working at Healy Disc, and it said, "What the hell's a Hubler?" That was the headline.
Again,
Thank you.
tragic
That's a
error.
positive start.
Marketing error. Hobbler, because we always got hobbled.
Or I would get you get
That's
the-
bad. Hobbling
the
is bad.
Hooters. You guys are awesome. I go, no, the Hublers. No.
Yeah. But yeah, getting back to maybe your music sort of thing, again, just with stories and stuff. I remember in horror again going into John Dewar's working, the
Yes.
throne,
The
and
throne room.
I'm luckily allowed in there because I do video and I'm
You have to sit in the
filming
corner,
artsy
though.
guy, sitting back on the couch.
And get one ready.
And
How many guards did you have to pass, and what kind of
I
questions?
mean,
There was no
Yeah.
guards. You just had to
I'll say,
be
yeah,
able to be there and not get skewered.
How many
Yeah.
drawbridges did you have to cross?
I think I got a key early.
It's kind of like Jack Benny's Vault. Did you ever see the old thing from the 50s where it was Jack Benny and he kept all his money and he'd have to go downstairs
yeah,
and there was
yeah.
like alligators and stuff like that.
Well,
Right,
gee,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's not
Okay, sorry, I'm interrupting.
No.
No, it was John Cooke interrupting.
Yeah, but accessing John was a very welcoming guy.
Right.
He's
Okay,
one
that's
of my
right.
good friends.
Yeah.
He helped me out in a lot of
Yeah.
tough circumstances and stuff, sort of thing. But the thing would be just like sitting back there and listening to these mixes again, recognizing now I'm fucking tone deaf and you know, and again as we listen to your thing, it's like.
Is this sound the same to you guys? My ears are big.
And there would be times where an alternative artist would come in and they weren't very good, but they had $500, right? And they, you guys would say, "Okay, sit back and listen there, Johnny." And I'd listen, and I remember this woman did Me and Bobby McGee.
That was the woman who did Deep Lucid Ponds, Barb something or other. Deep Lucid Ponds. But she did Me and Bobby McGee, I'm sure, as Barb.
So I go in thinking this is gonna be genius. I gotta recognize the genius. And it's playing little acoustic guitar, playing. Okay, that's genius. My boys are telling me this is fucking genius. And she starts singing.
This is the wind, Mr. Bojangles.
Okay.
Oh, it's the wind.
This is the wind.
Okay,
Okay, we all know the wind. Yeah.
Okay, and again, what do you want?
You
to
were
do?
there?
No, it was just like it had entered the throne or whatever, you know, this fucking sacred ground, and there's a big mixer. Listen to this, Johnny. And they'd sit behind me, and I got into the fucking prime mixer spot.
Oh,
right?
wow, you got the
Right?
exalted spot.
And here, what, you know, was later professionally classified as just the fucking worst bit of crap later. But going in
But it
with
was
that
recorded so
mindset,
well. The
it's-
first little bits of the acoustic go,
you hear
this
the
is a little
pick,
different.
Yeah.
It's well recorded, but it's a different
And it takes forever, right, before she starts singing, like, just maybe 2 chords. I don't know if she got to the
Oh,
third
I
chord.
gotta play the wind. There you go.
There,
So,
so that's what I was listening to in 19 Dickety, whatever. Hadn't just said, I don't fucking know, you know. But anyway, it's
this is
just,
supposed to be good. I can't
yeah.
tell.
So it's like going into the mindset of this is genius. I saw genius in it. I heard genius in it. But luckily, I turned around and everybody's laughing their ass off, right? So okay, now it's bad. Yes, that's fucking terrible.
And you had to get it, or you would spend about 2 days in the penalty box, right? I'm sitting behind everybody.
And again, the part that I just hate now, and again, I can avoid now. You learn what you hate is sitting back and they're mixing your own music. Now, this is my idea. I'm producing, right? This is my artistic vision. And I've heard this you know, now we've been in here 2 hours listening to a 3-minute piece of music. And certain parts are, yeah, you know, with the tape, you know, and, you know, there's that moment where it's, the engineer would turn around. What do you think? Well, fuck, I've been thinking about, you know, my foot kind of hurts or something.
That's your job.
Right now, you know.
As well, here's John's
Turn
a
up the
professional.
bass. Turn up the bass.
I hope we can hear him. He's leaning so far away from this table. So
Oh,
I'm just,
geez, a professional broadcaster.
yeah. We'll get
And the
the old-
squeaky chair.
That's all good. Yes, I mean, Byron and I have touched on like just the theme of the studio life with John, you know, because he was such a strong personality that pervaded, you know, throughout the studio life there. But it made life's rich pageant that much more rich, you know, like when you look back on it, you go, that was interesting, you know, all that stuff. Byron has a very unique perspective because being someone who is a very high level producer of music, and that's just proven. You know, he had a different perspective, right, from than maybe the rest of us plebes. You know, that were good guys, but we couldn't travel on the level of John and Byron. We weren't allowed to because we just didn't have the currency.
Yeah, guest in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. You're talking about the wind, and I've always been enthralled by the wind in that version of Mr. Bojangles specifically. I find it so interesting, and you talk about an artist itself and the issue of self-awareness of what you think is good as compared to what everybody else hears. It's sort of like the picture of yourself that you see in a Polaroid, and it looks normal to everybody else but yourself if you look at a picture of yourself. So I have always heard that when she did that, she thought it was good. Like she thought it was
Of course,
a
I
good
think
version.
she's challenged.
Like she might be.
saying.
She might be. But you hear that, and I don't watch sort of the talent shows and stuff like that. But there are people that are sort of don't have that self-awareness about their sort of art
Of
and
course.
stuff like that.
Thank God, or we wouldn't
Yeah.
be project studio owners, because people go, I can't do this.
Right, so
I'm not good enough.
right,
Yeah.
she's an extreme version of that. I would say would
Yeah,
be
you
my
picked the
experience.
absolute wrong
Yeah,
field
yeah,
to
yeah.
be
And
in.
sometimes I can't help but not listen to it because there
there's a
is
spectrum.
right, but there is like sort of this, and I don't. There's this like depravity listening to it. It does sound like a psychotic sort of thing, especially when I think about the visuals that you could sort of put against sort of you could have like bouncy castles and chocolate and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
against such a sort of a disjointed sound where it's sort of out of time, out of tune. And you know, you talk about coming into the studio, bringing your own songs, sort of self-awareness and stuff like that. And you're always sort of ultimately questioning yourself, you know, like, as good as you think it is, there's always some underlying thing here. I'm always going, I think
Maybe I'm
it's
way off.
Yeah, maybe I'm just so
Yeah.
way off on this brilliant idea
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And,
You just need a couple people to say, no, it's good. And you go, okay, good.
Yeah.
right,
Well,
yeah, just that confirmation and stuff like that. It's just sort of interesting. So what everybody else in the room fucking knew that she was a fucking
It was a joke. I
It-
hate to say it. It was
a
John's joke.
It was
Yeah.
John's joke in one way. I find it ultimately interesting. It was a human being just going in there thinking that this was really good shit and stuff like that. And
And it's funny how that
It's
whole
an
thing
interesting
doesn't play
thing
out
to-
so well in today's society. You know, like if you were to do it. But you know what I'm reminded of, though? I don't know if you guys have seen this documentary called The Devil and Daniel Johnson.
Yes, I was about to say.
Right.
And
That's
there's a
who's
buddy
to,
of
who's to
mine-
say what is fucking art?
Buddy of mine, Kurt, my good friend, kind of just was totally inspired by his art and like he could barely play guitar and got out in front of people right away, you know, and just had
Right.
interesting stories to tell.
He's the wind.
He
just
played at Blues Fest and you walked by and went, fuck, that was awesome. Again,
did?
I'm sure you won't
Who
remember
did?
the million shows. This
Daniel
Kurt
Johnson. Oh, Kurt. Oh, the
played
First Nations
Blues-
guy.
No, he played Blues Fest and he had a band there. And you walk by, and again, he's professional. He authorized it as good sort of thing, and
I
but
like
anyway,
it. I'm
inspired
sure I
by
like it.
Daniel Johnson. He's a
Oh.
Canadian artist who just decided to voice his voice. because
Steve
of
has
his
got
art.
this guy from Bronxville that's come. Sorry, and I'm just sort of
Yeah.
running off in the middle. Remember the guy that came in once or twice to your studio?
Mike Hart.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Yes.
sort of this
Ridiculous.
warped brilliance, and just sort of has no sort of
Can on the spot come up with like 4 or 5 tracks that work together contripunally in different instruments and be able to play them and then sing. And then he was
Yeah.
singing those beautiful lines, and I knew because I was recording him. The last verse, because he had one more verse of music, he just grabbed a piece of paper off the table and he sang Barb. Remember the one we were talking about, that deep lucid pawns that I was joking about? Barb earlier.
Oh, yeah.
She had lyrics, and he grabbed them and just read,
Oh, yeah,
sang
yeah.
her first verse into his song, and it sounded genius.
Yeah.
I find that so interesting.
Yeah.
Just
I had a 4-track. Sorry, I had a 4-track in Toronto, and he'd drop by sometimes too. I just there it is. I'll play record, and away you go. It was awesome.
right, and he was in his own sort of world. That was his own self-awareness and stuff like that. It sort of works out, but
Yeah.
ultimately
Genius.
very
Here's another
interesting.
genius.
So it's all creativity. You know, where does it come from? Who's got it? You know, and you know, one of the things I've always sort of said is that we all probably have an insane talent for something. I just hope that you bump into trying it. Like I say, Wayne Gretzky,
Yeah.
lucky, he found it right away.
Yeah.
I'm hockey. I'm not a big guy, but I'm going to be the best ever.
Yeah.
Just because flukily I picked that thing, and that's the thing that said, yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what the hell was it that I was supposed to do?
Yeah. I
haven't found that
yet. Still
Right, so
haven't
you-
found
and-
what I'm looking.
And almost to finish it off, just talking about tools. So you don't play the bass anymore. Your tool that you've chosen to express yourself, other than video itself, is the banjo.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing that for?
Yeah, my story's about 10 years now, and now I'm really just fucking into it hardcore, in that I play like 10 minutes every day, sort of thing, you know.
That's
And-
hardcore.
10 minutes a day. I'm telling you, I hit that 9-minute mark, and I'm just.
I'm gonna burst through to hardcore. God love us all. I don't think I do anything for 10 minutes a day anymore.
How long?
Sleep.
10 minutes.
Suffering from my art.
Oh man.
So,
Okay.
Anyway, the time we have to spare.
woodshed. I close the door. Yeah, I'm back out.
But to get back into it, where it's been comfortable. Now do you recover it? Where it's
Get what
become
you're
comfortable
saying.
for me is again going back to this sort of John Cooke's unique fucked up timing sense. Is that like it seems in these hillbillies you do the research and again everything's available on the internet. You know, sometimes it'd be
Yeah, but they're playing by themselves, right? They don't have to.
Yeah. So to me, and again, like just now, the banjo is the lead instrument, and you have to fucking follow me, and I don't care. You know, like it's awesome that way now. Just
And he's got all attack, no decay. You know, banjo's bang, 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 bang. No
All it.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's just the nature of banjo. I don't hear anybody doing like these soft passages. You know,
Yeah.
it
So I'm
is a bang. There's the note.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, you know, at least, you know, when I play with Steve now and come up and jam with Steve, you know, I'm at least trying to keep the meter the same, and if I'm gonna do it
That's
6
kinda-
bars, do it 6 bars every time.
Wow.
Sort of, but it's a huge challenge for me still.
Yeah, no,
to do that, you know?
Well, the funny thing, you know, in my younger
Steve
days,
should come to your side.
running
yeah, just
running a project studio, you know, the people that I would see on a daily basis that I just meet because they have one song they've written.
Right.
And when they come in, you know, the first thing you do in a project studio is just throw up a mic and go, okay, grab the guitar and just play me your song. I'm going to record it and we're going to start deconstructing it. Well, I'd be counting up bars. I'd be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, just because of the way the length of their parts. And I'd say, so do we want to do this?
Yeah.
Every 2 bars is a different time signature?
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't understand that. And I'm not saying I'm a genius, but I'm just saying I can count stuff because I'm really good at the drum machine. I know exactly the bars. And so I would show them, here's your grid. And they go, oh, okay, well, let's do it like, 4 bars, 8 bars, 12 bars, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Can we go back to my original?
Yeah.
It's funny, you know?
Well, again, just in the discussions I've seen before of how it, you know, because you want to so, if nothing, you know, if not a genius, so efficient on that drum machine, eh? Like, I'd see these people come in again with these fucked up ideas and see, there's a song.
It's
and
math. It
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
music, it was math.
Yeah, for a law part, because they're not, you know, they want oom, ba, oom, ba.
Well, and
They can't-
there
yeah,
is 13 and a half beats in this 2 bars. Like,
Yeah.
and
It's interesting about finding your instrument, and I agree with you. And I've told him this that even though he is a guitar player, anytime I asked him to, especially that specific drum machine, and it probably helped that it was that drum machine. Which one was it? The
R8.
Yeah. He was like a savant on it,
Yeah.
and it was like hello, like where does this guy come from? Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. It was almost like he had no money in the game for himself personally, because he does take it how his guitar playing is. He always says he's the worst guitar player ever in the history of the universe.
well, it's not me actually drumming, so I can just tell the drummer, do this.
Right, but when he plays the drum, it's like he's got no money. He just goes it's incredible how quick he works and how good he is. Playing the drums.
No, I don't use the R8 anymore.
were,
Now I
but-
just go
yeah.
and find drummers online and go,
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was looking for the power supply for the R8 just the other day, but anyway.
oh, I wish you could find them.
Yeah.
I have
That's
one,
a
I just
weird-
can't plug it in.
Yeah.
Because it has a little
weird
stupid
wire.
triangle circle.
Oh.
Triangle of circles.
So you have the R, but you don't have the. Oh.
Yeah, I left it with a buddy because he said he could fix it. It's been 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just go pick it up someday
Yeah.
because I think I found some electronics store, like one of those dirty little stores in the mall somewhere that the guy's just an
Right,
electronic
yeah,
genius and he
yeah.
doesn't know how to open a store or anything, but you hand him that and he would build a power supply for you.
Yeah. But anyway, again, you know, sort of recognizing, you know, Steve and I shared thing of Steve's attitude of whatever, it's a Brockville mold or whatever, you know, it's not, you know, hey, I'm kind of a guitar player or whatever, you know.
Oh, disrespecting our own abilities.
Yeah, and I think that's kind
good,
of
I
the thing
like that.
working through as an artist, you know, that you know, lots of artists have this is fucking magnificent. Little budgie.
Don't say anything negative to this.
Yeah.
Can't.
Fucking that's perfect.
So just before we ended up, so how long have you guys known each other since you were in grade?
I'd say we've known each other about 50 years.
I think it was another great buddy, Max, and he started coming to my school in grade 3, and I'd say about grade 6 we started.
Yeah,
I'd go to your house and we started chumming around.
you know, I skipped grade 4. So I was always a year younger than Max and John. So when I skipped grade 4, I went from a grade 3 in this other school with Max, and we went to Commonwealth, and so we were all lumped in this grade 5 portable class. Miss Mustard was our teacher. And that's where I first met John. We didn't really hang out then, but we knew of each other, and by the time grade 6, Fred Richardson, crazy ass teacher, we were then sitting together and causing trouble.
Yeah.
And it basically kept going. So I'd say almost 50 years.
Well, it's wonderful to see you guys 50 years later hanging out. It's wonderful.
Still alive.
It's still
Yeah,
alive.
absolutely.
But you know, sorry again, just I know you're trying to wrap it up, but
Even Byron's trying to wrap it
Yeah,
up. He's
holy
at least
fuck,
wrapping
eh?
up. The most experienced TV professional of us all is
He's
going.
trying to-
Hey?
He loves this.
Because,
He
yeah.
loves this.
Can we talk about Hitler again?
yeah, they're going to back to
Oh my God, we're getting farther back into the mess
Yeah.
pool.
We were talking about again, just sort of these ideas of what I would call art wankers. You know, I hung around a lot of art wankers, and not to be named here, but to start articulating your own work in those terms as somebody coming out of Brockville, you know, the wanker alert goes off in my head somewhere.
Right, but if you were from Butt Screw, Arkansas, you go, oh, he had a small rural upbringing.
Yeah, exactly. But Steve and I, in grade 6, we were getting together with music and pictures. You know, we'd do these little animated things where you'd flip the book, right? You'd do a little drawing every day.
We made
And-
comic books that we would sell.
Yeah.
Captain Spaz was our hero.
Yeah, and we draw
I'm
like
not kidding.
even before Kiss, like we had draw
Purple
these
People
our
Eaters.
band.
Remember we had a men's club, Purple People Eater Club?
Yeah.
We took an eraser and made a
Entrepreneurs.
stick, and if you
Fucking
were part of the club,
entrepreneurs.
you got to hang out.
Yeah, and then 50 years later, we should have been doing Rage Against the Machine this summer. You know, making pictures and music. It's fucking beautiful. I'll say that to you because it'll embarrass him and wait for the joke.
Well, there is a laugh track that
There
we're
you
going
go.
on.
There you
after
go.
this.
Thank God.
I do drop that in once in a while when things are starting to get sleepy between Byron and I. Anyway, so it's a nice welcome to have John in with us this week, and it's a restart, although I still have to output the last episode. This is how busy I've been, so I got 2 episodes to work on. I might break them up into smaller chunks. I might even see if my buddy John might consider being a guest editor on 1 or 2 of these episodes.
Well, you
just
guys
to-
should do a Hublers thing for sure.
Oh, well,
Your
I
thing.
plan to do
Yeah,
the same thing we're doing
that's-
for Byron for the Hublers for
very-
sure.
Very funny.
Well, we will do that at some
So
point.
we come back. Is this goodbye?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to
Well,
get
it's
to
been
it
a
here.
treat. Yeah.
But you're welcome back every week, like we tell Brian Smith, we tell John Cooke, because they're basically interweaved in this whole ball of wax, whether they like it or not. So they'll be coming back on whatever regular basis they want. And we got lots more to talk about. So for the Byronic Compendium episode, whatever the hell it is, see you later.
You said.